driving along creek.
And one of the greatest things is that you get to call these kinds of places your office. There's an immense amount of satisfaction in that.
Working on old cabins.
When you leave a work site, you see what it was before, you get done with the project, you look at it and you're like, wow, that is so much better than when we got here.
Host on camera.
Hi, I'm Sammy Demers. Welcome to Outside Science Inside Parks. Sometimes to do science in remote places, you need some support. You know, like a place to dry off and get out of the bugs. In this part of Alaska, NPS crews are restoring old mining cabins from the 1930s. This way, they can be used for years to come.
Opening sequence. Graphic reads, Outside Science Inside Parks. Aerial shot of Coal Creek. Graphic reads, Coal Creek Camp, Yukon-Charley National Preserve, NPS logo. Speaker is Ian Nickel, Historic Preservation Team Member.
We are at Yukon-Charley National Preserve at Coal Creek Camp, and we are currently working on some of these beautiful historic structures out here at the camp.
Speaker is Adeline Weisernig, HPTC Project Leader.
So the Historic Preservation Training Center, also known as HPTC, is a branch of the National Park Service.
That is our focus, is to go around and make sure that, you know, future generations have the opportunity to come to Coal Creek or to go to a different national park or historic park and see these structures for what they were at once upon a time.
Working on foundations.
In this project that we're doing, we're working on largely the foundation and the roofing. So when you think about historic buildings, like that's where you have to start, like making sure that the foundation is stable and the hat. You know, over time there will be additional projects that will you know, improve the buildings even more from interior and exterior, etc. But you have to start at the base of the top and the bottom to make sure those things are stable. And so here we're replacing the corrugated metal roofing.
Carrying roofing materials to site.
There's a lot of focus on preserving and rehabbing some of our national historic and cultural resources.
Historic photos of mine site and dredge.
So this is a historic district. It is a gold mining camp that was established in the 1930s. It's a placer dredge mining operation that was in the Coal Creek area. So what that means is that they have a dredge just 2 miles down from the camp here.
Current view of dredge.
That was like the main like tool of operation that just sort of like dug gold from the gravel. And this camp here was made to support that operation.
Aerial view of dredge near creek.
When you're doing historic preservation, like paints the story of like, yeah, like, you know, there are people out here gold mining and then this is where they stayed and this is where they lived. And then you get to go down to the dredge and go see what's going on.
Aerial view of Yukon River and Coal Creek.
Like in places like this where it's kind of a small remote camp, they have wildlife crews.
Researchers in heavy brush.
And other sort of programs that kind of gather here because it is a place that isn't, you know, it's so remote out here. It is a place that can provide the amenities needed to kind of like operate in such a remote space.
ATV and cabin, working on cabin foundation.
I just love being outside and doing things with my hands, honestly. You know, like that in itself is really rewarding, and just that satisfaction of like when people come back to check it out, then it's in a much better place for them to come and experience it and have a better experience themselves.
Aerial view of Yukon River.
Like who gets to do this, you know, like who gets to come out to the middle of, you know, the interior of Alaska and do this kind of work, you know, so it's pretty special. And you realize that so many people care about it and have cared about it over the decades that it's existed, and you know, you're just a part of that history.
Pounding in dowels, host on camera.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Driving along creek. Graphic reads, Outside Science Inside Parks is a production of NPS Natural Resource Stewardship and Science in association with Colorado State University.